Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. Guys, how are you feeling?
Glum.
Well, we'll try to cheer you up, I guess.
Dance!
Or you guys want to just start this episode
you just
over?
Can't see.
Or... I feel like we have a better episode intro in us, deep buried somewhere in there, and I want to try to coax that little sucker out.
I was just asking you how you were. That was it. There wasn't a punchline. I just care about you both, and I asked you how you were doing, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, Austin, stop getting between Leon and I. We were having a moment.
Austin, how are you? We'll switch topics to you and your deal. What's up?
I mean, first of all, it's Reverend Yorsky now.
Oh, you nailed it?
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
We're 2 for 3. At some point, this entire podcast will be a religious experience, whether you like it or not.
Neat.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just here to tell jokes. You guys got any good jokes? Remember when Leon used to write jokes for the intro of these things?
So I you sometimes write like a thing that has a punchline, and sometimes I just have a topic I want to talk about, and I take notes. I do have a topic I want to talk about,
and then I ruin everything.
It's possible. We'll see if you can ruin this.
That's just my general experience, because you start very glibly on a topic, and it's like you have a path that you want to go to, but then I like jump right in the middle.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, what color was it? You're like, that's immaterial, and I'm like, don't tell me I'm not important. My interests count too.
Oh my.
But you have something you'd like to talk about this week.
Yeah, I have something, and then I have.
I said some classic word funk shenanigans.
I have something, and then I have a visual aid. So
is the visual aid related to the something?
Yeah, it's not like I have one thing and then I have a completely unrelated picture I want to show you.
That may have been the case. You may have been like, I want to talk about this one thing, and also look at this beautiful painting I saw.
No. Okay, so this requires some intro. There are things about me, probably things about everyone.
Secret things?
No, not at all. These are very public things.
You don't have any secret things?
Oh, I have tons, but I'm
okay.
not going to discuss them on the show because they are.
I feel better. Continue.
Things. Yeah. There are things about me and probably everyone that like run contrary to what is considered normal in the culture that I live in and that anyone else lives in. At least in terms of things I want for myself. Like most people are members of a particular religion, whereas I am secular, technically. Although there is probably some mostly fraudulent website that would think I am part of their church, but I am not.
Hey, whatever you say, Your Holiness.
Okay, but I'm not anti-religion. It just doesn't seem like it's for me. I mean, there are religions in which I could slide in and not change my worldview at all. And another is
Leon just slipping into Shintoism like it's a hot bath.
No. In all seriousness, like I've read a lot about Unitarian Universalism, and honestly, it's pretty much what I think already. If I joined, nothing would change except I would go to church once a week to reaffirm that, and that's it. It's not a big deal. But anyway, I'm not really here to talk about that. Another thing is I don't want children, but I'm not like radical about it. It's just an individual choice based on what I want and don't want out of my life. Some people need to, but not everyone should. And I'm the latter. But the older I get, and hopefully the wiser and more mature I become, the more I see through, and I never know what to call it, but like radical contrarianism. Basically rebelling against the basic tenets of living a productive life.
Devil's advocacy?
Yeah, except not, but on purpose. Not like just to check. No, but like what someone legitimately thinks. I mean, there are, like I said, there are widely popular things that I don't want for myself, just as an individual choice, and I get that. But I mean rebelling against everything orderly and bathing it in, like, edgelord Punisher t-shirts and Tyler Durden quotes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The reason this popped up into my brain, here, let me make sure I have this, is because I saw this picture.
People who took V for Vendetta way too seriously.
Yeah. I saw this picture. I'm trying to upload it and see if it works. There it goes.
Uh-oh, I'm in the wrong chat.
It's okay. There is a bunch of. You have like tons of those. I just threw it in this one, and I may make this the banner just so people can follow along with me with this picture. But in case you're listening to the MP3 or if something went wrong, it is a picture of a bunch of identical people in identical black suits, and they are all skeletons, and they are all looking up, and the text is meant to be sarcastic, and I'm going to read it to you and tell you what I think. And it says, get a job, go to work, get married, have children, follow fashion, act normal, walk on the pavement, watch TV, obey the law, save for your old age. Now repeat after me, I am free. Now the implication here is we should be thinking the opposite of these things, or at least question them greatly. And this is the kind of meme that I see pop up from time to time that I just can't stand.
Yeah, I just want to come out right now in defense of walking on the pavement, because I spent a lot of time in my life walking in mud, and I gotta tell you, pavement, way better for walking.
Yeah.
Lost way less shoes walking on pavement than in mud.
Yeah, and some of these are like, look, here's the thing. Everything listed here is either necessary for a functioning society or at least an individual life, or at least a fun or reasonable option. Like, okay, the first one is get a job. Yeah, sorry, but yes, yes, you do need to get a job. I'm sorry. Eventually you're going to need to pay for food and shelter. It's not a big deal. You don't have to get a conventional job where you have to wear a black suit and become a skeleton, but you're gonna
do cool stuff with lasers and radioactive things.
There you go. You can
make a YouTube video.
Yeah, you can get the job. You can try to get the job that you want, but yeah, you are in fact gonna. Yeah.
Or law.
It's true. There is also that. The next one is go to work. Yeah, if you get the job, you probably should show up. I mean, that doesn't even seem like a separate one. The next two are get married and have children. Yeah, those are optional, admittedly, but they're not necessarily inherently bad.
I mean, you can have a torrid romance.
There's that
with like a gothic duchess.
Sure. The next one is follow fashion. That's, again, completely optional, but it really shouldn't be looked down upon that much. I mean, eventually you're going to have to know how to coordinate your belt and your shoes. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
In fairness, I think that one is the most obvious throwaway in this whole diatribe.
It is, but it's to the vitriol.
Because really what they mean is learn how to dress yourself.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between those two things.
Okay.
Following fashion and learning how to dress yourself. Because I kind of like fashion.
Me too.
You know, there are trends that I eschew, that I'm like, not for me, no thanks, not my jam. Okay. But then, like, when people are like, the Russian sailors circa 1962 look is in this winter, I'm like, oh shit, yeah!
The next one is act normal, and I feel like this is just they're trying to say that all of this is just about acting normal and that none of this is a desire. Like, trying to get a job is just you acting normal. Now you just had to pay your bills. We covered walk on the pavement. Yeah, I mean, probably most of the time. Watch TV. Yeah, you know what? TV is great now. Shut up.
It's fucking
like, what are you talking
right
about?
Now.
This must have been like originally made many years ago when everything was just Drek.
Just for fun, just like 30 minutes ago, I turned my television on and watched like 15 minutes of a Deadwood episode just because I could.
There you go. The next one is Obey the Law. Yeah, I mean, 99 times out of 100, that's probably your best bet. Both, for your own personal well-being and for the rest of society around you. There are probably always exceptions, but, I mean, it seems like a good rule. Save for your old age is the last one. That's, again, I guess that's optional. You could just hope that Social Security is still available when you're old, and you can spend everything, but it seems like a pretty good idea to at least consider it.
You could blow all your money on virtual reality.
These are all just like reasonable and sometimes necessary things to do with your life. And it looks like I'm just picking apart this one meme, but they're all over the place and they're all so obnoxious.
And not one of them does it better than the Radiohead single from OK Computer, No Surprises.
Really?
It's a pretty solid song.
I was going to say Fitter Happier is basically this meme.
Yeah, but that wasn't a single.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair. So it's fun to dunk on people who make bad memes, but the first thing I thought of when I saw this is like, oh, like a 12-year-old made this because they just realized that adults their whole lives have been telling them that things are a certain way, and they've just started questioning that. And I think that's
this was
norm.
shared on Facebook.
I think
this was shared on Facebook by an adult friend of mine, but okay.
Yeah, well, I'm saying adults made it.
Does your adult friend really like MMA?
I'm not sure what that has to do with anything.
Listen, adults can share it and adults can be dumb. My point is, I think it's a totally normal, natural, healthy thing to reach a point in your life when you realize a lot of people are phony, and then you have to work through that, and that might involve getting really into Fight Club memes. But ideally, you come out the other side of that, and I'd rather you be shitty for a while and then better than just accept that things are the way they are, because things are often bad, and we're told they're not, and then like that, hey, the history of humanity is just being like, oh, that's how they are? I guess I'm going to viciously defend that status quo to the death for no reason.
I feel like
Austin, that sounds exactly what a slave of the system would say, man.
Austin, I feel like that's like an idealized version of shitty edgelords, because I get what you're saying, but I feel like this has become incredibly prevalent.
Can I just chirp in here?
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
I mean, not that if you said no, that would stop me. But we're going to go into personal anecdote territory here. Once upon a Johnny ago, when I was still a young man in my early 20s, I worked in the service industry. I worked at a coffee shop. And there was this guy that I know. Fight Club came out, and we both saw it at the same time, right? And I came out of Fight Club, and I was like, like, what a stylishly done deconstruction of essentially social roles. Like it did not quite dig too far beneath the surface in like that toxic masculinity and things like that, but the whole you're not your job, you're not defined by the things that you own and stuff like that. That's all. I was like, okay, like as a 20-year-old or something like that, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes me think. This other guy that I worked with thought, wouldn't it be cool to start a fight club?
Yeah,
which is exactly what he did.
Oh,
I mean that's
so.
Okay.
No, the point that I'm saying here is that I came out the other end of that being kind of makes you think. And he stopped about halfway through.
Yeah.
And went, this is a place I think I could stay.
Yeah, I mean, the classic misinterpretation of that film is not realizing that Tyler is the villain, and that his ideas sound good on paper, but when taken to practical extremes are terrifying. But my thing is that everyone who's woke now was a shitty edgelord before, right? I don't know if it's possible to go from like cultural programming to woke without a shitty transitional period.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that he's still a shitty edgelord.
Oh, a
And
lot of people are. I've been on the internet.
That's sort of my concern, and I'm not going to name any names here, but I have colleagues who are even older than myself, and they're still there, and they're not only still there, but they have dug themselves in so deep that I can't even imagine them getting out.
But it's a different thing, because it's profitable to become entrenched in that stuff for people in that position. Like, just the random Joe on the street, his opinions don't really affect most of the rest of his life. Like, people just have bad stuff in their head, and then they go to work and they file paperwork and then they go home and they pet their dog. It's like not a thing. But if you have a show on the internet where you
if
barf your opinions.
People, if these are bad people, Austin, they have cats.
True and fair and accurate. But I guess the differentiator for me is that when someone has bad opinions and then they also have, thousands, tens of thousands, millions of subscribers saying, yes, your bad opinions are good, give me more and I'll pay you with my ad dollars, that creates an entirely different dynamic. And that
I'm not just talking about people who are like incredibly YouTube famous. I just mean people I know in my life.
Yeah,
who
randos.
yeah, and no, not even randos. Like people who I at least at one point considered actual friends. And I just that's a fair point. That sometimes you have to go through a shitty version of yourself to get to a better version of yourself. I don't think everyone necessarily has to go through a shitty version of themselves to get to a good person. Some people were just nicer than me when they were younger, and now they're even better.
Wait, but isn't that what fucking Fight Club's about? At the end, Edward Norton commits like metaphorical suicide to get rid of Tyler so he can be the better version of himself without that toxic ideology in his head. That's literally how it ends.
Yeah, but I think we established here already that Fight Club is not, like, biblical.
What?
It's not an instruction manual.
No, but I think some basic media literacy would do a lot of people good. Like, just the basic level of interpretation.
I think that's asking a lot.
The point I was trying to make is that I don't think you necessarily have to put someone down a horrible dark pit of all of this shit and hope that they climb out in order to get them to be a decent person. It might be better, and this is just a thought, to speak to them positively about good things and hope that they just continue to excel instead of feeding them bullshit and hoping that they spit it out.
But someone has to be the first one to acknowledge the toxicity of the culture and to make the positive changes, right? So, like, if we're all in the same society and we're all told the same things growing up, like, this is the way things are, with gender or race or with, money or any other thing like that, it's no one's just going to, like, spontaneously just be like, oh, I have different ideas now, and also that's okay, and we can all be different. Like, you have to, like, reject it at first, which is kind of like an inherently conflict action. It's a conflicting action with everyone around you, and it's like almost edgelord by necessity. You don't have to use a skeleton meme, obviously. That's the
thing about it is that it's non-engagement. Like, and nothing changes, nothing gets done at all if you're not engaging. Like, engagement is absolutely crucial in some form or another.
Yeah, and
to get things to change.
And I'll take skeleton memes over people just being like, "Well, that's just the way things are." But is that what you think? You think that, like, skeleton memes are like that's actual engagement? That's like it's the first step.
I don't want to say dialogue, because the word dialogue, especially in like a socio-political sense, has been completely and utterly like trodden to the ground, I feel, in the past like 6 to 12 months.
I'm trying to avoid drawing any specific comparisons because I don't want it to come off like exaggerative, but like we lived in a world that had like or like in America, right, that had slavery, and everyone was told that's the way things are, and it's normal, and it's actually no, it's not just normal, it's good for them. We're doing them a favor. Us white people, we're the righteous in the situation. And someone had to stand up and say, like, no, damn it, skeleton meme tells me that this is not normal. Like, someone had to have the first skeleton meme to end slavery, is what I'm saying.
Oh my! I feel like we might even be talking about two different things here, because I'm not saying.
I know. I intentionally took it over the top for comedic effect.
You really did. Look, and
also to force you into the position to try to argue against abolition, which I think is fun.
What I'm trying to say is that there are things to rebel against, and you should, and that is a great way for growth. There are things not to.
If somebody decides that like, well and truly, that they want this life.
Mm-hmm. The skeleton life, to be clear.
Yeah, skeleton life. They want to get a job and they want to go to work. People, like, I do believe that people kind of want to be self-sufficient. I'm one of those people who thinks that, like, yeah, like, you give somebody an opportunity to work to live and they will do it. They want to be self-reliant. Get married. Guess what? A lot of people do it, and not just because it's like, well, that's what my parents did. Same with having kids. Like, they want to fucking do this. This is rebelling against. It's not even rebelling. It's just vaguely pointing in the direction of a lifestyle.
It's a 13-year-old who looks around and realizes that everything's been planned out for them, and they're angry about it. I get that.
If this were stuff only shared by 13-year-olds, I'd be exactly with you on that.
I understand what you're saying. Someone in your social feed is experiencing some Arrested Development. I understand that might be frustrating.
There's so many. There's so much, and there's so many, and I have to experience these people.
I guess one of my biggest things, I don't know if we've ever really talked about this before, but I'm just constantly frustrated at people's reverence for tradition. I think tradition as a concept is fucking garbage.
It's one of the worst justifications for, quickly jumping back to my normie job. That's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
Is the worst thing.
Literally nothing
that I hear at that
is
place.
Less persuasive.
That's the way we've always done it. Every time I fucking hear that, I lose my shit at people. But everybody seems to think that that's an actual adequate defense of bad practices.
It's not, and it's garbage. But if you do want to do the thing that's expected of you, that's also cool. Like, if you want to get a job and have kids, you can do that too. I remember having this conversation with somebody who was like a very active feminist, and they were like feeling conflicted about liking the color pink. Like, they thought like it was socially assigned to them, and they were like just kind of working through that. And I just remember thinking, like, we have been so programmed by culture that we can't even trust our own feelings sometimes. It's like, do I like this because I like this, or do I like this because I'm told to like this? And then suddenly you find yourself in a Slipknot t-shirt, and it's just like, that's just who you are for a while. And like, I don't know what can be done about that. Like, we all go through the skeleton meme phase, or if we don't, then like, maybe you're missing out. It's kind of fun to be in the skeleton meme phase for a bit. I'm pro skeleton meme for a while.
Oh God!
Sorry, no. I'm sorry. I also don't think you need to have a job to be happy. There's enough food and space for everyone. It's just that we've just grown up in a culture that doesn't like sharing, because we're all fucking toddlers, apparently.
I'm sorry, but no, you are in fact going to need a job if you're going to live in a society.
No, that's because you have bought into a social construct of the way things are done. In 100 years, your ideas will sound goofy because we'll be living in a post-scarcity society, hopefully, if we haven't all been bombed to hell. But
I'm talking about now.
Why are you going to law school then, Austin?
Because I didn't want to go to medical school. I don't know. No, like
you're going to an institution for the express purposes of training to get a job.
No, I could care less about a job. If there was a button I could push where I never had to have a job, I push the button right now. It's just that I have a skill set, and I can use it to help. If I become a public defender, I can use it to help poor people. It's just a thing. Like, I'm good at like writing and talking, so I'm going to do those things. But if I didn't,
you're talking about these like in the abstract. I'm talking about quite practically one needs a job unless they plan on living in the woods and subsisting over the things that they grow.
Free man of the land!
Yeah, basically.
I mean, you actually can
Right.
do that, or
It
you
is-
move
it is-
to a country with a real social safety
But then
net.
your job would be weird guy who lives in the woods.
We're all going to have to get used to the idea that jobs aren't necessary. It's coming, and the faster we get okay with that, the faster we don't all stab each other in the street.
Just so we're clear, Austin, I do totally agree with you. That there basically comes a saturation point where almost everything will be capable of doing itself.
There will probably always be a small amount of things that need the human touch, but the population is rising fast and automation is rising as well. It's just the math is bad, guys. Like, we just have to we have to erase the cultural myth that suffering for like employment is like noble or necessary. It's bad garbage, and we just need to get it out of our heads as soon as possible.
The whole concept of the cultures of takers that a lot of United States politicians like to say, that there's takers. They want to take.
Mm-hmm.
They want your stuff. They want you to pay
It's
for
the
things
Ayn Rand
like
parasite
having
narrative.
pancreases.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
all
It's all
bullshit. It is. It's totally all bullshit.
In her books, they call them looters. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
But
It's
that
going to sound
Right.
clownish.
that time has not yet arrived.
Right, and that's sort of my point. That time is definitely not yet arrived. Get a job. Go to work.
It's never too soon to erase the cultural myth, though. Even if right now it's financially irresponsible not to have a job,
I think we can.
Listen, this is not a joke. People are going to die if we don't erase that from our culture. That's just a fact.
Attacking the cultural myth, absolutely. But erasing the cultural myth, just like, wandering into a kindergarten and just being like, none of you need jobs, you're all free!
But they don't need that, but they do need skeleton memes which tell them it's okay to question the garbage they're being
Maybe
taught.
some of them need skeleton memes, okay?
Okay. Yeah, listen, some people are going to go through their entire lives and never question anything. They're going to have beautiful families and fulfilling jobs, and then they're going to die at 70, and people will cry at their funeral.
And
absolutely,
on
their
their
lives are going to be
deathbed,
amazing.
they will, their last words will be like, come closer. What is it, Grandma? And Grandma will just go, I wish I had bought more Snuggies.
I'm so glad I didn't question anything.
That'll be it,
But there's 7 billion people in the world right now, and there will be more. It's like, that's not going to be okay for everybody. It's just not. So it's okay to have skeleton memes at the end. The defense rests.
It is a proposition of values.
I like when Johnny makes this declarative statement.
No, that's what it is. It's saying you're not free if you do these things. It's like saying that women who strip can't be feminists. You can't be an empowered woman if you're a prostitute or like a sex worker or something like that. And it's like, no. You're swinging the pendulum so far to one side that it becomes as dogmatic as the other. Like, it's actively critical of people who decide to engage in these things and live this life, when the fact of the matter is that asking questions is totally important, and you should have the courage to come to your own conclusions about what you need, about what you want, about what works for you.
But would you share a meme on social media if it said, like, just a blue background and just like white letters, like, sometimes it's okay to question the social norms, but we need to do it with nuance and take into account a number of factors which influence people across culture? You wouldn't share that.
That is literally every wholesome memes tweet.
Okay.
And that is the best Twitter account.
Okay.
So you're wrong.
But I bet that...
and I retweet that all the fucking time.
I bet nuance...
That's a fucking TED Talk right there, Austin. That's what you just wrote, a TED Talk.
I just think...
And they blow people's minds.
I just think nuanced memes are not as viral as ones that take a hard line in the sand and are absurd upon further reflection. And that's just how it works.
you're absolutely right about that. But you know, the cost of good information is sometimes high.
It's a shame that there already is an account called Wholesome Memes, because I would definitely start one and just start tweeting, like, sometimes it's okay to not agree with someone and cut them out of your life if they're toxic, but you should at least listen to them, get the gist of their idea, and then decide for yourself if it's, like, just going, like, long, not catchy, like not take, it's like golden mean fallacy shit.
I was just going to say, that's why I make 10-minute long YouTube videos that properly explain things.
This is like, it's stuff like this that basically have created me as a proponent of critical thinking, and how I think critical thinking needs to play a more like basic education role in our society.
Leon, do you disagree with this? That you would have 10 times as many subscribers if you, in all your videos, yelled loudly about whatever you were saying and didn't examine both sides or whatever, and you were just like, this movie's about X, if you think different, fuck you, also something SJWs, do you not think you would be infinitely more successful?
I'm not claiming that I wouldn't be more successful. I'm claiming quality of what is being said. We're talking about quality of what is being said, not what you just said.
All right, so if that's the argument, let us, together, as a fun experiment, try to design a more quality-filled skeleton meme. Because
it shouldn't be a skeleton. That's the problem.
No skeletons in this.
All right,
meme.
well, that feels against the spirit of the thing, but I'm listening.
No
bad ideas in a brainstorm.
I'm sorry, but the skeletons are part of the problem.
So what should they be?
I'm thinking artistic depiction of the Big Bang.
Okay, so it's just like a galaxy picture?
Just like, but kind of like exploding. So it's got like whoosh lines and stuff like that. Like, whoa, those stars are coming at me. Hang on. That's just a photo.
Very Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Whoa. Yeah.
All right, so...
my Big Bang star explosion theme meme would say something like, question everything, but don't be like a dick about it.
Yeah. Also,
that's pretty
you would
good.
need to avoid putting white letters over white space, which is a pretty...
Yeah, this meme is terrible.
Graphic design is my passion.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's why you frame the photo, right? And then get the text outside of it.
Yeah, get GIMP.
Or
it's easy.
Or what you could do is have like the whoosh exploding, and then have like the letters over top of it with like other like weird, like water and galaxy and like trees and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, this message is like everywhere, man.
Here's my like final statement.
Yeah, we gotta get off this.
No, I know. This was meant to be like a joke, and then Austin's like, no, wait a minute, skeleton memes. So okay. Here, my final statement is on this. I used to have shitty ideas, and that's true. And now I still have some, but I would like to think that I have less and that I'm growing as a person.
Yeah, we're always working on it.
But here's the thing. It's hard to see how many people do that. How many people are stuck in that like kind of lifestyle. That like if you showed me this skeleton meme 10 years ago, I would think it was so rad. And because that was what I was like back then. And you do make a good point that sometimes people just go through this as a phase, but I don't think it's necessarily a requirement in order to become a better person to go through what we are jokingly calling the skeleton meme phase.
Gentlemen, in conclusion, ass butts.
That's a good point.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. So I have some stuff to talk about this week that's not skeleton themed.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I have a lot actually. Did you guys watch Iron Fist? That's not a transition. Sorry. Did you watch Iron Fist?
Yep.
No. For a lot of reasons.
Yeah. So before it was released, Iron Fist took a lot of heat for basically doing nothing to adapt the white savior myth that underlies the premise of the comic book. And then when it was released, it was immediately savaged by brutal reviews calling out everything from its depiction of like homelessness to mental health to just having like really boring, flat characters, poor choreography. In any way you can criticize the medium of moving images, I feel as though Iron Fist took a beating.
It got It got iron fisted.
Pretty savagely. And
Oh, gosh.
all those things that people said about it are basically true. But I think I still enjoyed it.
There were some things about it that I quite liked.
Yeah,
Actually.
it's not good.
And by no means is it like it's not any of the other Marvel series. Like it's nowhere near as good as the one that I probably enjoyed the least of the other three. Probably Luke Cage, just because of the confusion that they had with like the villains and things like that.
What they did with the villains in Luke Cage ultimately took a lot of the wind out of those sails for me.
Yeah, but it was still great. I'll still tell people, oh yeah, you got to watch Luke Cage. It's great, But it's nowhere even near as good as Luke Cage, like at all. But I did like some of the things that it did. Like one of the things that I noticed very early on was that gaslighting was an important theme of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with the mental illness stuff in there. I follow a psychologist.
There was when they got to the inside of the asylum, or whatever the hell that place was. It was not great.
Do you guys know Jonathan Holmes? He used to work for Destructoid. He's a mental health professional, and he was basically just like tweeting out like all the things they got wrong. He's like, they're not allowed to strap you down like that. They're not allowed to force pills on you like that. Like I do this for a living, and all of these things are incorrect. And it's like, yeah, those are genuine, real criticisms. But also like it's nice to see the portrayal of like the villains just treating people's like sense of reality as something to be used against them, which is something you don't see often.
To institutionalize someone. It's there's another phrase taken from a movie made back in I think the 1940s or something called the shock corridor, where this old movie is about a journalist who goes undercover into an insane asylum to write an expose of what it's like to be in the insane asylum. And a university even did a study like this, and they found that as soon as you got in, it was like almost impossible to get out, because the moment that you were stigmatized, like that's it. And there was a lot of that in the series as well, of people being kind of forcefully committed and then just being like, no, I'm not crazy, I'm normal, it's okay, and the doctors being like, right.
Yeah, there's kind of an entire train of thought in like prison reform as well, that it's basically impossible to get out of those kind of systems once you're in, because you're marked for life. And if you actually do like reading about like scholarship on prison reform from of the last century, there was actually plenty of people, like prominent judges and stuff, who said like prisons are kind of barbaric, we'll probably phase them out soon. And it's like, yikes, like we really doubled down on that one, folks. But yeah, like there's a kind of an inhumanity to just the process in general that is kind of highlighted. There's a lot of things in Iron Fist that are fucked up and bad that I just kind of liked anyway, though, is kind of like the theme of it. So it's like, yeah, the mental health stuff has good and it has bad. And like a lot of the villains are boring.
I mean, the realistic depictions of the themes that they were exploring were still very comic booky.
Yeah, I mean, it's what do you do with the source material of a guy who punches hard, though? Like,
I asked myself that question during the whole of Dice Funk season 2.
That's true. Yeah, you kind of pulled it off, huh? Yeah.
I think I did. I think maybe Iron Fist writers, if you're looking for somebody, I've got a little experience.
I feel like One Punch Man, had a lot to go with.
Which is on Netflix now. Yeah, so Danny Rand, the title character, has come under a lot of fire, both in the show for being quote-unquote boring, and out of the show for being a bad talker man, a bad mouth boy.
Yeah, he's not defending his position very well.
Neither has the writer of Iron Fist. Did you see that?
Oh, no. I did see that.
Jesus. He was like, I know people want them to be Oriental or whatever, and it's like, dog, just don't. You're not helping.
Here's a thing though as well, is that I would have a problem with that too. Because I have a problem with the whole concept. Sorry?
They're fucked no matter what. It's a bad premise. It's a bad premise.
Completely. Because it's either like, congratulations, here's your white guy that's going to save Asian culture, or you're like, look, this is Lo Wang, he does kung fu.
Yeah, then it's Shadow Warrior.
Yeah,
there must be a happy medium where you could have a non-stereotypical Asian person who also just knows kung fu.
Yeah, I mean, like Black Dynamite.
Right. What I'm trying to say is like you can do an Asian character who has martial arts experience without it being offensive. And isn't that like half of Jackie Chan's movies?
That's true. Yeah, look.
I mean,
the problem is that like the stereotypification of Asian people as being like, oh, they know martial arts, and then like. I don't know how I would react to this, hearing a casting director go, well, it's about a guy who's really good at martial arts, so we thought, let's bring in an Asian dude. Like, there are problems with both decisions. Austin's right, you're fucked either way. It's either the white savior or it's typecasting.
Yeah.
I had it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was saying it's also fucked from Jump Street in another way. It's just like the lore of the whole thing is premised on like the most boring villain in the history of comic books. Like the Hand ruins every series it touches. Like Daredevil season 2 is basically insufferable once they show up. It's just like the hero is bad, the villains are bad, it's just all bad. And I'm actually surprised with how much I enjoyed what they did. Like I don't even know if they tried. I was about to say they tried, but
the fight choreography was
the best they could do with like a guy who I think was basically just an actor with no training, and he did like the bare minimum.
Yeah, but man, Keanu Reeves used to not know kung fu.
Yeah.
He also used to not know guns and shit like that.
Yeah, and he works his ass off to train for roles.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Finn is this guy's name, right?
Finn
yeah.
Jones.
My understanding is he like didn't do that much to prepare for it, and he kind of seems like a bad opinion man too, which doesn't help. And but here's so we spent a lot of time preambling up to what I really wanted to talk about, which is everyone
what's good about Iron Fist?
Everybody hates Danny Rand, and Finn Jones is probably a gutter boy, but I really like the character of like hero who's like religious and not a dick about it most of the time, and he doesn't care about money, and he doesn't care about the way he dresses, and he thinks it's weird everyone's like always judging each other and greedy. Like I really identified with the soft boy at the center of the series.
There's a sweetness to like the first half of like the Iron Fist season where you're just seeing this guy kind of like recollide with these like 12-year-old ideas of having like grown up under a really like a privileged family to this like religious order that defies any value or I have forgotten the word.
Yeah, they reject materialism, and he's so baffled that everyone immediately starts thinking about money when he shows up. Like, he just wanted people to be nice to him. Like, everything that happens in Iron Fist could be avoided, basically, if people were just not mean. Like, all you have to do is be nice.
It was kind of sweet. When he got angsty later on in the first season, or later on in the season, I was like, I'm not so much.
Yeah, and they started busting out is it okay for a superhero to kill? And it's like, yeah, I think I've seen this already, guys. I know about the man who is the Bat. But at the beginning, he's just this gentle, soft boy. And I was like, finally, the representation.
This is the white male I've been waiting for.
Exactly. It's nice to finally listen. As a white man, I don't get to see a lot of things in culture that reflect me.
Oh, God. I did want to say one thing as it relates to that. Someone, I can't even remember where I saw it because I just see a bunch of skull people pop up. But some guy said, if they made Iron Fist Asian, that would just be pandering. And I was like, okay, first of all, shut up. And second of all, would it if they did actually make roughly the same show, Iron Fist, but they, cast, let's say, a Chinese American actor or just a Chinese actor to play the character, that wouldn't be pandering. Wouldn't it just be correcting a wrong?
It's like we talked about this before, like the messaging around these things. Like if from one person's perspective, something's pandering, from someone else, it's just like a thing that makes sense. And it's just like the same way for some people, things are like identity politics, and others people, it's just like just reflecting the actual world that exists where there are different people. It's about how you market it, right? Like you're never going to convince someone who would be mad about a Chinese Iron Fist that it's not pandering. Like that's just that word is meaningless in this context.
Yeah, I have a very old video called "The Absence of what's it called? The Absence of Diversity in Superhero Movies," and it's like years old and like couldn't be updated by now, but I still get comments on it.
Yeah,
it's a very popular video, so I'm certainly glad I did it, and I still agree with what I said in it. But man, like a couple times a week, someone comes into that comment section because they've just seen this for the first time, even though it's years old, and says something like that.
And they're like, "Why are you so triggered, cuck? Why are you so angry,
Pretty
huh?
much.
Why are you so sensitive? Why does it bother you, huh? Why don't you just don't worry about it, huh? Why are you so bothered? Why are you so upset?" Like it's a whole other mindset, and you just can't. I don't know if you can do anything about it.
I know.
Unless
More skeleton memes.
You stole my punchline. I was like, yeah, if we had introduced them to skeleton memes early on in life, they would question the narrative that minorities are somehow only served when they're pandered to, instead of being legitimate human beings with valid feelings.
Okay, all right, wait. New skeleton meme. Bunch of skeletons in suits looking at the sky, and it says, without our organs, everyone looks the same. Skeleton.
Yeah, and this is the part where we transition into talking about the Death Note movie, and I guess Ghost of the Shell and all the other whitewashing controversies, except we've definitely already talked about them. It's just a thing that's happening again. Yeah, it's pandering if you do it, and if you don't, then it's erasure, and everyone is going to die because we're destroying the planet. I don't know, guys. What do you want from me?
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, when someone has to make a decision based on whether people are going to say, "Oh, this is shitty," or "Oh, this is pandering," I would go with the one where people mistakenly think it's pandering.
Yeah, how dare you try to make a subset of people happy? You pandering fuck.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, is it really not pandering to cast the white person?
That's what I'm saying. The term is meaningless. all it means is I disagree with the choice you made. Like you're pandering to the wrong. You should pander to me. It's nothing. Yeah. There's like no discourse there at all.
Yeah. Someone
on that note, I was actually very tentative about the Ghost in the Shell movie. I was like, I don't know why they made her white, but I mean, maybe it'll be good. And then I saw a trailer the other day, and it was all like, they think they can control me. I was like, nope. Yeah. Don't want it. I'm done. This whole fucking like, you have a super robot body, but did they give it to you because they wanted you to do good, or because they wanted you to be a tool? I'm like, oh god, leave me alone.
Yeah, now I'm thankful that they saved an Asian American or Asian actor from the indignity of being Ghost in the Shell.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm sort of like, oh, that could have ruined someone's career.
Yeah, that does not look like a good film. It also looks like they.
Scarlett Johansson will be okay. She'll be fine. She'll go on and do another Black Widow movie, and then like some weird art film, and everybody will be like, hey, did you remember 9 years ago that Scarlett Johansson did this weird movie about being a Japanese robot? And everybody will be like, no, really? Be like, yeah, they wiped it off the internet.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson is kind of untouchable at this point, so it's like, I feel like she can just take whatever she wants.
Yeah.
But it looks wretched.
Yeah. Oh, it does.
It looks like every bad Deus Ex fanfic I've ever just like skimmed to the
yeah,
first
it's literally Human Revolution. I didn't ask for this. Sorry, you're a robot now.
or even worse, the Electronic Arts first-person shooter Syndicate game,
which apparently has defenders. I found out recently. Some people.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I gotta say this. In fairness, its multiplayer was great. Okay. Everything else about it was
that's
awful.
What I heard too.
Awful. Fight me, bro. Awful.
Speaking of video games, I have been playing a video game recently, and I kind of want to talk about it.
Is it? Okay. Is it? Nier?
It is Nier. Nier
or Far.
Yeah, that's technically a joke.
That's a throwback in 10 years
Yeah.
from now when the public broadcasting system in America is a smoldering rubble of what it once used to be. People have been like, I wonder what that's about. It was called Sesame Street.
So Nier Automata is the latest game from Yoko Taro, who made Drakengard 1 and 3, as well as the original Nier. The quickest way to summarize this just fucked up, wacky franchise is that it is a really subversive series that plays with expectations of video game as a form. Like the gimmick, I guess, of the original Nier was that it switched genres constantly. So there was a text adventure, like a choose your own adventure book for a while. It was like a Zelda style game for a while. It was a survival horror with fixed camera angles for a while. The bosses are bullet hells. That's like on paper the thing that makes it like cool and interesting. But I think there's a lot more to it. I think the soundtrack is second to none. Like literally, I don't think there's an argument to be made that it's the best soundtrack in video game history.
Are we still talking about the original one?
So yeah, I'm setting it up because Drakengard 1 and 3, which are the ones that Yoko Taro made, are kind of like Dynasty Warriors clones that get weird. Like eventually, it's like, oh, a cannibal shows up, and then you travel through time, and it's like, yeah, those are weird, but they're
space babies.
But gameplay wise, they're pretty normal. Like they fit into a mold.
Right.
Nier, what sets it apart is really that it's constantly switching genres, and Nier Automata does that too. It starts off as like a space shooter, like Gradius, and then it becomes like a Bayonetta. It's co-developed by Platinum, so obviously it feels like Bayonetta for that reason. And then it does other things. It's kind of an open world game where you go out and do like quests to get materials for crafting, and then it does other stuff. So it has that too. It has the great music. It also has a lot of the Yoko Taro weirdness. Which is like, if you haven't seen any interviews with him, he always wears like a mask helmet, which is of a character called Emil from Nier, and also all the robots in Automata look like Emil as well.
It looks even more horrifying than that Majora's Mask moon that everybody's like, it's the scariest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Like actually seeing a man wear this helmet is like, I want to know what he smells like, but I feel like it would scar my soul.
Yeah, people ask him like, how are you in there? And he's like, it's hot, I'm dying, please. All of his interviews are gold. He's like, will you port it to the Switch? And he's like, if Square Enix pays me, I'd port it to a toaster. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. People are like, why did you give the robots like nice butts and high heels? And he's like, I like women, which is like not really an answer, but like, at least it's honest, unlike Hideo Kojima's whole like, you'll be ashamed of your words and deeds shtick. Like, Yoko Taro is just himself.
I wanted to make a character that was really good cosplay.
Yeah, well, he said that, and then he also said, that, it'll be explained, and then it was, and it was bad. But, like, Yoko is just, like, he just is who he is, and that's the weirdest human alive, but, like, I'm also really down for that. And if it was just, okay, this is a weird game that switches genres, I think that would be enough to justify its existence. Like, this series, by all like PR and like marketing metrics, probably shouldn't exist at all, and that it does is good. But it's just so much more than that. Like the original Nier had one of the first binary characters in video game history, possibly like the first ever, and one of the only still, I guess, outside of like BioWare games. And it wasn't just like a weird throwaway character, which is the problem with BioWare games, where it's like, hi, I'm trans. That's me. Go collect 10 bear asses. Also, I'm trans. And it's like, I guess you tried. But like Kaine from Nier is like the second main character and is fucking awesome. Like the game is like worth it just for her. And there's like a bunch of shit like that where it's just doing things that nobody else is doing. And Nier Automata is very much in that vein. Like they could have just done more of what Nier was, and I probably would have been happy. But this new game is... It's so hard to talk about without spoilers because it has like 26 endings or some shit. And it's not like most games where like you get to the end and there's a choice and then you pick one and that's the ending you get and then you watch the rest of them on YouTube. It's like Rashomon or Pulp Fiction where like the game ending and then doing other stuff is like part of the same experience, if that makes sense. Did I explain that in a way that tracks to people who haven't played it?
I think I'm clued in.
So you credits roll and then the game keeps going and then there's more stuff, and that happens a lot. And that's like it's what the game is about. And I don't want to give anything away because like Nier had not one but like two of the best plot twists in video game history. Period. End of sentence. And it's been like 6 years and I still don't want to spoil them. They're that good.
I just want to say this. All right. Androids from the moon.
Yeah, the premise of the game, and this is like the least you can say about it without spoiling, is that you're
Oh, you didn't have to explain it. I just wanted to
You're an
say
android from the moon, and then there's robots who are on the Earth, and there's an aliens involved. But like saying the premise of any of these games is essentially misleading. Like the premise of Nier has nothing to do with what it's about, in the same way that Nier Automata is about a lot of things. What it's really about is like our views of what it means to be human as filtered through robots, and that sounds like, oh, it's Blade Runner. You mean it's Blade Runner? But yes and no. It has also, and I think I've said this before, this is like the highest compliment I can give a thing, is I wish I'd written it. Because it's exactly the kind of things that I think about a lot and would like to explore in art. And we did a little bit of that in Dice Funk Season 2, like the idea of like if two people are like genetically same but have different memories, are they the same people? Are they different? What if they have the same? What if they have like genetically the same but they have, you know what I'm saying? Like there's like a lot of that. Like, are robots people? What makes a person? And like
I ask my evil twin that every single time he ties me up to do one of these episodes.
So it's very hard to talk about without spoilers, but it's definitely the thing where it's like, damn, he beat me to some of these themes, and it's these characters are great, and it's doing things with just video game storytelling that no one else is doing, and this is the first game he's ever made which plays well, like that having the controller in your hands is good for the first time because Platinum worked on it, which is not actually something I even really need from him, but it's nice. And then there's just like the music and everything else about it. I think Nier is one of the most important like artistic achievements in video games, like full stop.
And you would say that Automata essentially extends upon that legacy then.
Yeah, I haven't finished it because finishing it is like a puzzle.
A complicated process.
What is finishing a video game? Nier Automata asks. It asks many things, and that is one of them. And even if I had, I wouldn't be able to talk about it. Like the original Nier, like one of the ways it can end is it deletes your save file forever. Like that's the level we're talking about of like it fucking with you. And there's a lot of stuff like that. And I think it's interesting that like the one controversy, the thing that got people talking about this game before it came out, was that like the main character had a really nice butt, and like it was like going viral, and people were like, I hesitate to make fun of this, but there's a screen cap going around of someone on GameFAQs who was like, I thought this was an anti-SJW game because of the butt, but they're talking about lesbians?
Go figure. SJWs are horny. It's so horny.
It's like low-hanging fruit, basically. I don't even feel good about dunking on that guy, but like you can explore what sexual identity means and also enjoy bodies, like human bodies, and that's like a thing that no other games are doing. Like even Mass Effect, which is like the sex-positive game that everyone's talking about right now, is doing a lot of like really cringy things. That I've only seen from like screen caps. I haven't played it yet because I'm playing Nier, which is, I think, unilaterally the better game. Sorry.
I probably would have picked Automata up this month if I hadn't been roped into Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Oh my god, are you okay?
I had 3 friends who were like, we gotta play Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I never get to play games with these guys. Yikes. Because they're dorks.
That's a toxic relationship you found yourself in, Johnny.
Not because they're dorks and things like that. You know,
I know.
like,
it's just that does not look like an enjoyable video game. But
actually, I'm having a remarkable amount of fun with it. It is problematic as shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Okay. You know, like it is ridiculously like, hey. Effie, the cartels, oh man, the explosions, oh, you know, like it's just like no.
Come on, America, let's go kill those people in something cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like it's there were problems, but just as far as like. There are no characters either. Like I could kind of forgive it if like, you know, you picked a character and it was like you got to customize that character and then they had like a presence in the game, but at this point in time it's just sort of like a bunch of voices that sometimes happen to coincide with each other when you're in the same vehicle. But as far as an actual game plays, it is so much fun. Not single player. It's a total disaster. The AI is just awful.
Isn't this like the Borderlands thing, though? Where if you just you can have fun with your friends no matter what you're doing if they're just chilling together.
This is the thing, actually, is that, like, when I rag on Borderlands and I'm like, the only thing that makes it fun is when you play with your friends, is that playing this game single player actually entirely reduces the possibility of fun because they stick you with 4 soldiers anyway. And the interface, the UI, is awful, so directing all 3 of them is quite a task. And you can't just let them run off and do shit on their own, because they're dumb as shit! Like, I played through the beta and, like, some of the actual release, just kind of, like, by myself, just to, get the feel of things and things like that. And it was almost unplayable in single player because these 3 fuck ducks were just like running around behind me, switching between cover because, you position yourself at a certain point. They're like, hey, I gotta get close. And then the other guy's like, hey, let me in there. He's like, okay, I'll move. Well, I better take cover over there. And then, like, just a fucking mess. The game is designed, like, from the ground up to be a 4-player co-op experience. And when those conditions are met, it's brilliant. When those conditions are not met, the concessions that they made designing the game to be specifically, like, multiplayer, ruin it. Do not play Ghost Recon Wildlands unless you're planning on having a full squad through the whole game. And this is the reason why I got convinced into picking it up, was because 3 guys were like, hey, we've all got it, we're looking for a 4th, oh, will it be you? I'm like, are you guys going to play without me? They're like, we literally can't.
I can't imagine the kind of life people would lead to see the video game landscape now and be like, Yakuza 0, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Mass Effect Andromeda, Nier Automata. I think I'm going to play that racist cocaine game. Like, also Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Me,
sorry, I missed one.
Don't ask me.
I'm just...
Like...
Listen,
What is the racist...
I did it.
What is
I did it for fellowship.
What is the racist cocaine game's name again?
Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never played any of the Ghost Recon games.
Actually, it's called Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which may explain that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. But what was it? Noah Gervais Caldwell, or is it Noah Caldwell Gervais? I can't recall. He wrote a review of it for Polygon that just had, like, one of the greatest, like, synopses of this game that I'd ever seen, which was, like, he had to assassinate this, like, religious violent man who was, like, delivering a sermon in a church, and it was like, he's like, yeah, so I flew an armed drone in that had explosives strapped to it. I just, like, blew it up, and I killed everybody in there, and they had no idea. And then I realized, oh my god, I just killed, like, 16 people who were attending church.
America.
Yeah.
I mean, yikes.
But it's so fun, though. It is.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with video games, right? Like, they can make you do some vile shit, but if it's fun, like, I don't know. That's that.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. I mean,
yeah, that's the ludum narrative medisminus. Everyone's always talking about. Anemones for squeegees. Yeah. So, do you guys want to answer questions?
I have a couple things I want to talk about real quick.
Okay.
And I'll just go through them in rapid fire.
Yeah.
I'm reading the Left Behind novel.
Wait, the novel or, like, the series?
The novel.
Okay.
There are too many.
I know there's quite a few of those books.
There's an ungodly amount, oddly enough. No, it wouldn't be possible. I am doing, like, a lot of other laborious research for it. For example, there is let me double check the length, about a 21 to 22 hour video or series of videos that were taken from Yale University about the Old Testament that I need to watch. And then there's a similar one of similar length about the New Testament that I'm also going to watch. So those I'm willing to do. I'm not going to read every Left Behind novel. But here's the thing about the first Left Behind book. Its biggest problem is not that it has shitty ideas. It's just not. It's not. It's just. How do I put this? There are like problematic works of fiction that are just written well. So you're like, yeah, I mean, it's this makes me uncomfortable, but it is good, in some ways. This is written in the kind of graceless. And then this happened, and then the next thing happened, and he thought to himself, that sure did happen, and it just goes on like that. And I'm like, look, can't your shitty ideas at least have some poetry to how you write this? This is it's uncomfortable reading it to the point that I am both listening to the audiobook and reading the novel at the same time to keep myself invested in it. It's unpleasant. And I just wanted to say that. I also want to say one more thing before we go into questions. David Boreanaz started a nail polish line called Chrome Girl. And I think that's wonderful. I just found that out. That's the thing he does. 'Cause I was wondering, like, what is David Boreanaz up to? Because
Bones.
Yeah, he was. Well, that's the thing. Bones was canceled. So I was like,
Bones next week. But will Bones be the last Bones that Bones bones?
Look, they ran out of bones. I mean, there's only so many in the human
There's
body.
only so many bones.
Right.
No matter how much of the D you take.
Yeah, I mean, at some point it was.
I mean, Leon. Right? Like taking the D every day.
Yeah.
Good for the bones.
Yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying on various levels. I'm done now. That's all I wanted to say. We can do questions now.
I just totally expose myself as somebody who watches Bones, don't I?
I've never seen an episode of Bones, but I already know that my favorite episode is the clavicle one.
It's not great. I started watching it because the science that they used in it was actually like legitimately, based. Like it wasn't. CSI had this great thing where it was like, we're gonna do a DNA test. 3 minutes later, they're like, we got the DNA test. But Bones apparently like had some pretty solid science to set it up, and then like by the third or fourth season, they were just like, I know, crap.
I mean, there's always so many things you can do with the procedural premise, right? And TV has been just wringing that sucker dry for.
I know, and I'm done with it. Bones is the last one that I'm hooked on. From my whole like, ooh, I really like mysteries. So once Bones goes, so goeth the procedural with it. As far as
there's
I'm
just
concerned.
only so many ways to kill a person, and CSI has so many episodes.
Yeah, there are 206 bones in the human body, and there are 200, and there will be, when the series finale airs, 246 episodes of Bones. So I feel like they've definitely been spinning their wheels for about 40.
Yeah, they doubled up on some bones.
This isn't even a good joke, but okay.
They got double boned sometimes.
All right, so here's some questions. I'm just gonna say them.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
You don't even have to ask whether or not we're going into questions. Let's just do it.
I guess that's true. Cosmignon
Executive
wants
decision.
to know, when you make D&D player characters, do you ever think of mundane things for them? Like, oh, my character has a spring birthday.
Did I not make it clear when I designed Drop's character that I was like, no? I guess actually no. Now that I think about it, Drop's got a pretty fantastical story.
It's not even just that the fantastical story. It's like, do you think of things that and establish things that could never be plot relevant? Because quote unquote plot is a lot of what we talk about. Like, oh, my character has this mentor and they have this conflict. But do you ever just think like, he likes eggs?
Well, I didn't. I didn't know that Shathane was going to be a character. I mean, I left it hanging there, and that was up to you. But
That's true. But I guess the spirit of the question is: do you think of like dumb? Maybe that's judgmental. Do you think of like things that
unimportant
shouldn't come up, right?
I have, yes, but usually it's determined by the campaign I'm playing in.
Well, sometimes like actors will come up with entire backstories for even small characters that they play to give them a better idea of how to approach the character. So that is a thing, like in the world of playing a character. In terms of just me personally, I'm sure I have thought of like some minor things about the three characters I played, but most of it just kind of happens organically. And then I said, yes, it is canon now. He is left-handed, or something like that.
Yeah, I remember when I made Anne, I deliberately didn't try to establish much because I didn't want to accidentally contradict something that would happen later. So if I was like, she has a allergy, and you'd be like, that doesn't exist in this world or something, and then I would have felt like an asshole. So I actually kind of went light on the details. I don't know. I just have like a neuroses about inconveniencing people. That reflects on me.
Okay.
I really wanted you to give me more than.
I tried to really focus just on the church angle, and I sent for help once, and that didn't work out. So you didn't really get that much about her, but she did a lot of stuff on screen.
No, I mean, Anne's. You tried to write Anne's superpower is. She has a connection to a universal group of like priests and things like that.
Well,
I couldn't allow.
I mean, she did. That was
really.
her background bonus, was that she could call for help from church. But Leon?
okay. Well, I mean, thinking about Anne right now, I mean, her most defining characteristic happened like after you must have written her backstory, because that just happened in the roles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fire.
Well, fire, yeah. I'm talking about just her intelligence score, which I had originally planned for her to be kind of a puckish rogue. And I was like, oh, actually, she, can barely think enough to get herself dressed, so that's who she is now.
Right. That's what I mean by sometimes like things just happen organically, and that's also fun.
Yeah. Okay. Cyretha asks, has Johnny listened to the new Dice Funk? If so, what are his thoughts on Leon's character voice?
Not yet. No.
It's fine. Don't say anything.
No,
then.
I was hoping to try and get it in on Saturday. Saturday's a really good day for me because I usually spend Saturday by myself, which means that I can throw a podcast on for an hour and plot through like some Galactic Civilizations 3 or Stellaris or what have you. So I'm gonna be a week behind kind of like at all times because Austin releases Dice Funk on Sundays.
Yeah. So yeah, look forward to that, Johnny, and everyone who's going to hear Johnny's reactions, because I haven't been able to think of much else. Like I'm in Skype chats with like everybody on the show, and we're just constantly like, I can't believe you did that. Like I'm still just shaking. Like I can't believe you've done this.
Looking forward to
I'm
yeah.
The difference between me in this season and me in last season is I have more room in my headspace to play my character. This season, like at the beginning of last season, I had a lot of shit going on in my life. Now everything is settled, and I have like a schedule, and I have like the 3 books that I need to read this up more on D&D, and I have a more elaborate backstory, and I've been trying to practice acting and voice work in preparation for this. So this is like the maximum effort season for me. Mm-hmm. Whereas last season I was like, do I even have time for this shit? I'm just a unicorn.
I'm sad I'm not going to be a part of that.
No, I'll continue. I'll try to continue to have more effort in season 4.
So this is maximum up to this point.
Yeah,
effort.
I'm.
All right.
The point is, like, I feel like season 1 I brought a lot to the table. Season 2, I think I brought humor to the table. But maybe not as much character stuff as some of the others. Whereas this time I'm balls deep in everything. in season 3. I don't know why I had to make it sexual.
I look forward to seeing you balls deep in this.
I did not know why I had to say it like that, but I did, and I'm sorry. Next question, please.
All right. Corey of PC asks, what goes into picking the opening and ending songs for each season of Dice Funk? I think they're all going to be Dice Funk related this week because we just started a new season, so it's fresh in everybody's mind. The answer to that question is I have an encyclopedic knowledge of video game music. It's my curse. I have a bad brain. So I have literally dozens of ideas for what they should be.
No, Austin, you have a good brain focused on bad things.
Okay, that's a silver lining way of looking at it. But actually, I had a lot of ideas for songs that could fit, and it was just finding ones that I could act on because, as everyone probably knows, I use overclocked remix arrangements. They're not actually remixes; they're arrangements of video game soundtrack songs because trying to get a PR person to go through legal to get me the actual versions would be kind of a nightmare, and Overclock Remix has a standing attribution policy. As long as you credit them, you're allowed to use their stuff. So that's what I do. So like, if there was an overclocked remix arrangement of certain other songs, I might have picked other ones, but I found the ones that I thought fit best for the tone. I guess like the answer to the question is I start with the songs I already know in my head because I have like a lot of opinions and a lot of favorites in that particular arena, and then I try to find ones that arrangements exist for. So that's that question. Let's see here. I got some questions about questions. Eugene T
Jesus.
asks, "Are morbid questions okay?" I try not to ask ones that we can't make funny. So if it's just like there's a dead body, like I don't know what to do with it. Like I don't know if we can help you. Actually, that's a bad example because that's kind of funny. So
wow, I you always say, Austin, like I don't know how we can make this funny. The show doesn't always have to be funny. I mean, I know it is just because, like, in the natural flow of conversation among three people who know each other well, things are going to get silly. But I like our serious moments too. People can ask serious questions, but if they're gross or like so deeply private that it might seem inappropriate to ask, just use your best judgment. That's how I would answer that.
If you're trying,
all I'm going to say is that I'm very good at things that are not funny.
if you're trying to game the system, the bad news is I don't really have a system. I just kind of say whichever one jumps out to me. So I'm sorry if you're trying to find method in the madness. And I usually just try to make jokes because that's like a defense mechanism. I don't want people I don't want to be thought of as like boring. And I guess like it's easier to be funny than it is insightful sometimes. Although I try to bring both, but I guess I default to humor.
I think you do well.
I'm
the opposite.
You know, if I may say as a friend of yours.
Thank you. Josephina Vineyard asks opinions on Samurai Jack, which is back now. I haven't seen the new episodes, but I really liked it when it originally aired.
I didn't even see the old episodes, but it's back now? I'm so excited.
I didn't see it when it aired, but when it hit DVD, I was curious, and I watched the DVDs, and I remember liking the show, but I do not remember a lot about it, except the premise, and a few individual episodes.
Did somebody's master get killed?
I think Aku destroyed the entire world.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, the theme song explains everything.
Yeah.
There's a spoken.
Yeah, but that's like what, 45 seconds? Why don't you guys just explain it to me?
Okay, look.
The villain destroys the world and then throws Samurai Jack into the dystopian future, and he's trying to get back to fix the world.
Good. Okay, thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
Next.
To undo the evil that is Aku.
Exactly. It's actually a really good show. It's really well animated. It's both funny and like surprisingly like dark and gritty, in like not an ironic way.
I have heard that.
Genuinely.
It just kind of sort of landed at the same time as like The Last Airbender, where I was just off cartoons because I had just hit that late 90s, early 2000 kind of like, hey, if it looks like it's made in Japan, then they'll just eat it up thing had just sort of like breached the surface, and I was like, my god, it's a whole city.
I don't know. I think Samurai Jack, one of its strongest features is it doesn't really look like other animated stuff. It has like a really strong art style.
It fell under the tank treads, so to speak.
I feel you. Pruitt Holcomb asks, Leon, are you going to watch the new season of Drag Race? Any contestant?
Yes, God, obviously.
Any contestant you're rooting for?
Good question. I never look at who the contestants are until the season premiere, because what I do is I watch the season premiere, and before the end of the episode, the rule is I have to choose which one I want to root for, much in the way that people have like a sports team that is their team. That is the way I play this. I watch Drag Race much in the way that people watch sports. I'm very excited, as I always am. So yeah, obviously looking forward to it. But no, I don't know. I've purposefully not looked up who the queens are this season, because I never do, and then I get really excited when they introduce themselves one by one. That's it. I don't have a punchline to that. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a way to transition out, because I've never really watched that show. I'm like aware of it. I know people who watch it, but
yeah.
I don't have anything to add. Faltering Footsteps asks, why do you always sound super stoned when listing off the patrons at the end of Dice Funk? That's for me. When we record shows, it's talking to people, which gives me like a natural energy. And when I'm reading the patrons, it's me in a room alone talking to myself. And I don't want to like fake energy, like pretend like like there's a different vibe than there is. So I'm just kind of reading off a list. And I know most people skip it anyway.
So what you're talking about basically is that when we hear you list the patrons, that's distilled Austin.
That's my natural form. Yeah, I mean, I've made it no
right from the cast.
I've made it no secret that I'm a Snorlax in real life, guys. This is all a facade right now. This energy, these good vibes I'm sending out. I'd rather be sleeping, pretty much all the time.
There also, like, I mean, there's a difference between someone speaking voice when they're talking to someone casually and when they are reading something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe not if you're an actor, but for most people it is, which is why the way I'm speaking to you right now sounds a little bit different from the way I sound on Renegade Cut. I'm not putting on an act. It's just I cannot talk differently.
Yeah.
When I'm reading my essay. I just can't. I've tried many times. It's just not a thing I'm capable of doing. And I'm not going to try to change it now, or else it'll be weird.
Yeah, I've thought about trying to jazz it up or disguise it or something, but I can't think of anything that would just not come off as disingenuous.
Mm-hmm.
I
think you should do it like a radical '90s serial commercial.
Yo, I'm here to say I like these patrons in a major way.
Oh, that was something that just happened.
I'm sorry.
It really was.
Oh my god.
I think I have a modification. At the very beginning, instead of yo-yo, it should be, hey there, kids. My name's Austin Yorsky, and I'm here to say.
Can't rhyme it. Oops.
Which is...
Okay, next question.
Never mind.
Creature asks, Leon, how do you feel about, and then all caps, wrestling video games?
I don't know. I played a few wrestling video games back when I played video games heavily, and was during my initial run of being into wrestling. I don't have like strong feelings about which one is the best. It was so long ago. I mean, I'm sorry. But I mean,
oh, Leon.
Yeah.
If you ever get a wrestling game, I'm just hoping they have online functionality. Mm-hmm. Let me know. I will get it. We will make a tag team.
Okay. All right. I mean, if that ever were to happen, we would do that. But I got to tell you, like, my gaming habits are like at a bare minimum. Like it's below the basement. So the idea...
I know that. I'm staking my claim right now.
No, you've called it. You are my tag team partner, just in case I ever do. That is fair. But no, I mean they're wrestling games. I don't know. There was
the Dungeon Master and Dr. YouTube.
I remember there was one called WrestleFest, and it was a WWF arcade game that I liked a lot, and I would walk a very long way when I was young to go.
Jeez, that's old school.
To go to a pizza parlor where they would have that particular game. And I liked, what was that one where it was like really cartoony and the Undertaker would like hit people with tombstones? No, not the tombstones, but actual tombstones. I don't remember what it was called, But yeah, I played on a bunch of those, and of course the console versions that had like the creator wrestler features were cool. I don't have any deeper thoughts about that though.
I just looked at the time. We have like 2 minutes left, and we didn't get to like half of the stuff that I thought we were going to. This has been an episode that people will look back on and be like, "Do you remember that time we talked about that skeleton meme for an hour?" Like that's
we can go for like,
that's this
we
one.
Can go for like 6 or 7 more minutes. So
Yeah, I have literally nothing.
Oh, now it's sad.
I finished all my tax stuff that I was going to do.
I told
today.
you I was glum at the beginning of the
Nope,
episode.
he cut that part out. Josh Irwin asks,
Did I? I don't think I did.
What are
I'm looking into the future,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Josh Irwin asks, what are your thoughts on the Dark Sun setting, aka the planet of the Leons?
Oh, yeah.
So
What the fuck does that mean?
So Dark Sun is a D&D setting, which is like post-apocalyptic. I think like the gods have left, and so there's no like divine magic. And the thing that always sticks out to me about it is that halflings are cannibals. Is that right? I'm gonna Google it, but
Something like that. It was halflings or no?
Sounds like they just had to up their game if they were going to survive.
yeah, I mean it's kind of like the darkest and grittiest of a thing that is already about running around and stabbing people to death.
Oh,
It is
okay.
the most. It is the most skeleton meme of the Dungeons and Dragons settings, which is saying something because skeletons are a thing in like every Dungeons and Dragons setting.
Jesus.
We're never going to escape that. I just thought it would be funny,
Yeah.
and then it turned into a sociology debate, which is interesting.
And
I'm sorry.
I'm on the
Go ahead
halfling.
with your Dark Sun.
I'm on the halfling page of the Dark Sun wiki, and it says most halflings are carnivores and are infamous for being cannibals. So yeah, that was a correct recollection, and I think tells you most of what you need to know about the tone of that setting.
Oh, okay.
D&D,
It never really landed with me, to be honest.
yeah.
with
I
you.
mean, I don't remember. I wasn't around when this started. Apparently, it came out in '91, so I was 1. So I
Yeah.
wasn't there, but it strikes me as something supremely Todd McFarlane. Like we were in it, like those days.
That's that's just about as I think accurate as you could put it.
I don't think it's anything we would be interested in exploring during Dice Funk, but I'm not mad that it exists because whenever you have something as like ubiquitous as D&D, you have to push it in all the directions, right? You have to get dark and gritty once just to see how it feels.
Oh yeah. No, if we were gonna go dark gritty on Dice Funk, I think I would probably push for Warhammer Inquisition.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'd all have to learn so much because Warhammer is like really heavy on like factions and stuff.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of like backstory and shit like that. But the dice system in 40K, pardon me, Inquisitor is actually it's real easy. It uses like just 100%.
Oh.
Where it's like you roll 2d10, and the first one is like, well, I guess it would just be
On the Roll20, you could
digitally it would be just a D100, but on table it was just 2d10, and it's like your white die is your 10s, 20s, 30s, and then your black die is your 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Yeah, we've talked about this before about like all the baggage that comes with using other universes and how it's kind of tough to be like, all right, so there's a goblin and there's 20 years of backstory about what goblin means in this universe, but here's what you need to know for our purposes. And then like that does kind of suck, but it's also better than like, here's the Smiga board, I made it up. Here's everything that the Smiga board are about. That's like also very bad.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not a lot of like elegant ways to do that, and especially in a podcast. Like if you're just at the table with your friends, you can just be like, yeah, dude, let me explain halflings to you over the next 10 minutes as we eat cheesy poofs. Like that's also a different vibe. But yeah, so there's a lot of things. Dark Sun is like one of the settings that I think looks bad in retrospect because it's very skeleton meme, but
It was very much a product.
yeah,
of
that's
its
exactly
time.
what I was thinking. Like I bet in context, it probably isn't actually like that much darker and grittier than all the stuff that was around it. Yeah. We should do D&D corner more often because I have all kinds of thoughts, and that was a short-lived segment, huh? Looking for questions. You guys should just talk amongst yourself while I'm looking through the questions.
Can't wait to watch wrestling after this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who's gonna do the good wrestles?
The match I'm about to watch is from last night's SmackDown. It is Randy Orton versus, oh gosh, who is he facing? Baron Corbin.
I assume you're gonna cut all that out.
No. It's literally this is part of who I am.
Okay. It's just the new Leon. Everyone deal with it.
Sorry, the new Leon is really just the old Leon who liked wrestling, and now I like it again.
All right. Mihai Fortuna asks, if you had a holodeck like the one from Star Trek, which program would you run? See, if this was any other three like rando dudes, I didn't think we'd immediately be like, just crazy alien orgy. But I feel like we're all super boring.
I would hate that. I feel like that's well done.
That's super not us.
I would hate so much of that. What would I do? Probably like something like being a character in like a movie I like, and like playing in that world. Like I'm a Blade Runner in that particular future, but not that one, because I know how that ends. Just something like that, like existing in a world of a movie I like.
I might do Raymond Chandler.
So it's just a fanfic machine, is what's happening.
That's
with.
kind of what it is. I mean, that's.
Oh, I guess, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen as much Star Trek as you guys, obviously, but now that I think about it, I'm like, the first thing I remember is them like pretending to be pirates on like a ship.
Yeah, they did. There was like a lot of Sherlock Holmes stuff that happened in the holodeck.
Yeah. Data did Sherlock Holmes. Patrick Stewart did Raymond Chandler, basically.
Well, kind of,
except he was called something else.
Yeah.
And who else? Yeah, Lieutenant Barclay used to do like Three Musketeers, like valiant, kind of like swashbuckling stuff.
Yeah, and on Voyager, Paris would do a lot of like old sci-fi serials with like a one that didn't actually exist but may as well have. So yeah, that, I guess.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. I'm such a like boring person. Like, I would just want to like chill. I would just like go into like, what's the most relaxing, like just the world's biggest bed, please.
And you could just be like, give me the world's biggest bed. Except on a mountain somewhere.
Wait, why would you?
But not too cold.
Why would you need the world's biggest bed? I mean, a king-size bed is way big enough for you. I mean, are you planning on rolling around?
No, I need to fit the world's softest dogs.
I might do The Witcher.
Yeah?
Except, not like super sleazy, sexy Witcher.
Okay.
So not The Witcher.
Just like, because part of The Witcher is sort of like, private investigator hunting the countryside, like stabbing griffins and like, saying mean shit.
But
to
isn't that the rub, that like all of the fiction that we really enjoy the worlds of are so defined by conflict and violence? It's like, oh, I love Harry Potter. Oh, there's also like the ethnic cleansing of the Muggles. And it's like, oh, I love Game of Thrones. Oh, there's all this backstabbing and the zombies are rising. I love Mass Effect. Oh, there's intergalactic war. Like every setting is like beset by conflict because that's the nature of narrative fiction.
Or you know what I might do? What I might do is stage a Shakespeare play.
That's a very Johnny answer.
Because that is something like Data does The Tempest at one point in time in The Next Generation, and I did when I was in my early 20s. I did Antony and Cleopatra for the local Fringe Festival, but there are some plays and roles that I have just always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do Henry V, Richard III, and, I mean, obviously, Hamlet. Always. And I feel like that would be such a positive experience to actually knuckle down and, like, learn the lines and, behave in that space and just explore those works of art and things like that, Mm-hmm. And that's another thing as well, is that it's like, it is like, in a large way, it's about exploring places that you couldn't otherwise go, themes and art and characters and attachments and ideas and all these different things, And yeah, I mean, sure, our favorite works of fiction are all, there's all conflict, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're endorsing conflict by participating in the enjoyment of
No,
this
but it's
art.
like if you showed up in the world,
know-
you would immediately be eaten by dragons. Is what I'm saying.
But I mean, like there's that whole video game like, oh, okay, we're going to do an absolute real life simulator. So you're going to spend like the first 3 like years learning how to speak a language properly. No, that doesn't sink in, It's about a relaxing, explorative, and enriching experience, which I feel like most good art should be.
I gave it some thought, and I would holodeck myself to a world where Pokemon were real. The end. And they would be good. I've solved your puzzle.
No, I solved my puzzle. You solved
I was
yours.
speaking to the question asker. Are we done here, guys?
We can do one more
One more?
if there's anything interesting, but
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
take it on.
Our doctorate of questions. Good old Jade wants to know if there's any movies we're looking forward to coming up this summer. Is Dark Tower this summer? Because I do need me some Idris Elba.
I don't think we're getting Dark Tower until the winter,
Dang.
or maybe even like early 2018 or
No.
something like that.
Come on.
no, I'm almost positive Dark Tower is going to come out this year. But let me double check something
Yeah.
because I'm just going to skip right here to my
July 28th, it says?
page. Yeah.
What?
Really?
I'm bad at seasons. Florida doesn't really have seasons. Is that summer? July? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes.
summer.
But I think the summer blockbuster season isn't really like summer. It really means like May through the end of August.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
But
no, I'm just surprised because like it seems like they just published the first poster, and I'm like, well, I guess we're not seeing that till December.
there's tons of movies that I will be seeing this summer, but there are only a handful that I am like really looking forward to. I'm looking through the list.
Edgar Wright's new movie looks interesting. Baby Driver.
I don't know what that is.
Is that anything like the Baby Boss movie about the baby who is a boss?
No,
hope
no,
not.
it's like it's. In the first place, the cast is pretty incredible. Just offhand, it's got Kevin Spacey, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx. I'm forgetting a bunch of people, but it's like a heist flick. It looks like about this kid who drives getaway vehicles, and he's like super young.
Like the Pope.
You would think so.
I mean, they call him Baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it like, and I was expecting it like, I only saw the trailer on the weekend actually. And when it started, I was like, oh no, Edgar Wright, what have you done? But then like 90 seconds later, I was like, holy shit, I really want to see this movie. So Baby Driver looks interesting to me.
I'm kind of looking forward to Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets because it looks like Luc Besson is making a spiritual successor to the Fifth Element.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I have no idea whether or not it'll be any good. But I mean, it's one that I'm definitely going to see. It could be shit. I don't know.
And then in May, I don't know if you guys know this, but season 3 of Twin Peaks is coming out, and I know that's not a movie, but it is David Lynch's return to filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I count that,
Right.
and fuck you if you disagree.
Wow. Okay. There are, I mean, in terms of all the superhero movies that have come out and are coming out this year, not super interested in many of them. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will probably be good.
Yeah.
So there's that. But there's, I wouldn't say I dislike superhero movies right now because I did like Logan. I like that one. But I don't know. Most DC movies now suck, and most Marvel movies now are fine and samey.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like now. I mean they've always kind of the Marvel cinematic universe has always been kind of that, with like a very few exceptions. Maybe this will be one of them. I guess.
This? Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yeah, maybe this will be one of the exceptions. In terms of like...
When is Wonder Woman coming out?
Wonder Woman is May, I believe. Let me double check that, because I could be wrong.
Because I have very mixed feelings about the Wonder Woman movie. No, I do. Right. I want it to do well because it's the first superhero movie that we have that actually stars a woman. Yeah. So I want it to be proven financially that a woman-fronted superhero movie can do just as well as what about
Catwoman? Sorry, Halle Berry.
There have been
shut your face, Austin.
There have been a bunch, but they have all either not had a lot of backing to it. Like there was a Supergirl movie, but this looks like a big deal. Early scuttlebutt is that it's just like all the others, and that it's a huge mess, and they screwed something up. But maybe they're wrong. Maybe everyone's wrong.
And this is the conflicted part: is that I kind of want somebody to just put the nail in the coffin of the DC cinematic universe and just be like, "Okay, all right, hang on. It was all a joke. we're starting over."
Oh my. I don't know. See, here's the thing. Like,
it would really suck for Wonder Woman to be the movie to do that.
Well, at the they have so many that are in development, and one that's already in the can right now that this can't be the last one.
I know, but I keep reading horrible things about both the Batman movie and the Flash movie.
The Flash
that they can't hold on to scripts, they can't hold on to directors. Like release dates keep getting pushed back, and like there's a fire right now in somebody's pants, and everybody's denying it.
Oh gosh, that was fun. We should probably go. Anything you guys want to say before we leave?
Mother Nature tried to kill me today.
Oh,
is that just like a Johnny thing? Because you say stuff like that.
No, I mean it's trying every day where it's like, flu, disease, blah, blah, blah. But it actually, like, straight up stabbed me in the leg with, like, a thorn that I swear to God was, like, 8 inches long.
Oh.
It was not, but I swear it was.
Okay.
So that's my takeaway thought.
All right.
Mother Nature. Ruthless.
Okay. The series finale of Bones airs March 28th. So be sure to...
I told you, next week.
Yeah, so be sure to catch it, or you're boned.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yes, absolutely.
No.
Anything you want to say before we go, Austin, to save us from that?
No.